Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? The more I learned about cryptocurrencies, the more I realized exactly what they were created for. It's amazing how when they first came out, the hype was you had peer-to-peer, low fees, total anonymity, no regulations, no tax. And I said, anytime you create disruptive technology, the government has already went through it all, beat it up, figured it out, how to backdoor it, the whole 9 yards. It comes out like it's new, but it's not. The total anonymity thing is BS. We know this. I like to see them explain how it is they know which so-called Russian oligarchs are trying to hide or trying to sneak millions of dollars out of Russia. Supposedly, there's no way to tell who owns the wallets. It just goes from one peer to another. Now the government knows how to figure out who owns what crypto and where it goes and who gets it. That's nothing like we were told when people were getting suckered into cryptocurrencies. But I do want to show you something that I think you'll be interested in. Before we get started, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I surely do appreciate it. Right now is a great time to be in gold and silver. Nobody knows who owns it. Nobody knows where it is. Nobody knows your business. It's done privately. That's right. You can trade it, exchange it, sell it, and nobody knows your business, unlike cryptos. It helps protect you against inflation. It protects you from a market crash. And it definitely gives you true freedom. So when you go to buy your precious metals, go to check out our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. If you haven't been into cryptos that long, or maybe you're just now hearing about them, a few years ago, they were the hype. But they suckered everybody in by saying, hey, look, you got cryptos, the fees are really small, you could buy stuff, especially on the dark web. Nobody knows who's doing it. It's peer-to-peer, no taxes, no regulation. It's total freedom. It sounded good, but like I said so many times, too good to be true. Too good to be true. And as time went on, I knew the government would get their nasty hands into it. Sure enough, they have. And right behind them would be them nasty bankers, which now we have futures contracts, derivatives on cryptocurrencies. And their market is being manipulated just like gold and silver. Welcome to our world. Anyways, Bitcoin for the past 700 years seems to be hanging around about the $40,000 mark. It's at $40,690. Ethereum still hanging around about the $3,000 mark. It's at $3,001. We got XRP, the new world order coin, at 73 cents. None of these seem to be moving very much at all. They go up a little bit and they come down just as much, keeping you around the same prices that it's been now for, quite a few weeks. Solana is at $102.53. We got Cardano at 91 cents. Avalanche at $75.57. Polkadot at $18.52. Dogecoins at 13 cents. Shiba's at 4024. For some reason, ever since it got listed on the Robinhood, or should be there shortly, hasn't done very much. As a matter of fact, it's lost 1 or 2 points. And that's usually the durable one. Polygon's at $1.39. Crypto.com is at 40 cents. Satama is at 8064. At least it seems to have leveled out. It's right around this range. It's been here for a little bit. It kind of goes up and down, but not by very much. As soon as the cryptos make their run, or I should say, as soon as Bitcoin leads the pack and they start to make a run, I have no doubt that Satama will follow right behind them. But they're definitely getting their butt kicked, it seems like, daily. All the kinks have been worked out. The last I heard, SatanMask is up. It's a good platform. I've been asking people about it. It had problems in the beginning, but seems to be doing fine now. So I'm not sure what's going on outside of a lot of what appears to be manipulation. Where it is that the whales keep doing this to the accounts because they're trying to gobble up as many of these as possible. If that's the case, whatever, sooner or later, they can only grab so many bags, if you get my drift. Over the last hour, Saitama is down 2.1%. Over the last 24 hours, it is down 0.7%. Over the last 7 days, it is down 17.3%. Over the last 14 days, it is down 34.9%. Over the last 30 days, it is down 40.6%. Speaking of getting manipulated, silver's at $24.65. Look at this. Since yesterday, it was up there around almost $26, and it was knocked all the way down literally to $24.42 from $25.95. They bashed the heck right out of silver. So this to me is this is awesome because, again, it has more than monetary value, and it's definitely going to go up. There's no doubt about it. Trying to scare speculators out so you'll part with your physical is what they're hoping. They haven't been able to shake speculators now for quite some time, so I don't know why they continue to attempt. Look at gold at $1,951.90. At least it has stabilized. But heck, you can go all the way over here to, what is this, April the 18th? Yeah, $1,995. It got knocked all the way down to $1,939, but it is back up to $1,951. So precious metals feeling the squeeze. There is a short. The experts keep talking about it, and you can say what you want about the economy. You can say what you want about the dollar, but precious metals and other commodities are not reacting the way they do throughout history to market crisis as well as inflation. Not doing what's right, not doing the norm. But there is a squeeze going on. We're going to tune into this gentleman right here. You're going to hear what he's talking about. Gold and silver are in the middle of a squeeze. This is what I'm talking about.
You got to talk about gold.
Yeah.
And lots been happening since we last spoke. You've been on the program a couple times. We've had you on at SF Online. Gold is up today, 1935 last checked.
Yeah.
You put out a couple interesting newsletters with two interesting topics. One was there's a bit of a gold squeeze going on. And the other one is buy the dip in gold.
Yeah.
Let's start with the gold squeeze.
Yeah.
Really curious what that actually means. And we've seen the silver squeeze last year on the physical side. Are we seeing something like that on the gold side now?
We're seeing the beginnings of it. It still isn't to the big story is actually another silver squeeze going on right now in physical. If somebody wants to go buy physical silver right now, they're paying tremendous premiums. And, it doesn't do anybody any good now, but the best advice I can give is to have bought silver last year, kind of a thing, before what we're seeing now happens. It goes for gold right now because we're starting to see premiums rise. It's not quite to the extent as it is in silver, because in silver, the cost of manufacturing a coin or a bar is a much greater percentage of the value of that bullion, not quite so much in gold. But premiums are rising in gold, and that window is kind of closing if you want to get physical product. It's getting harder to get, and you don't quite have the selection that you had.
So now, taking that in consideration and watching what's happening to the gold and silver price, you can easily see that the markets are being messed with. They're being manipulated. As long as you just hold on and continue to stack, you're going to benefit from it in the long run. Continue to stack, add to your pile. Because if there's a squeeze going on, collectors and stackers are not going to be the only ones that feel this. With all our modern technology, it all uses silver, so keep that in mind. And pretty soon they're going to need it, and they won't have it. That means they're going to have to pay us the right price in order to get us to part with our precious metals. So that time is coming, that's for sure.
Kind of an advance warning in gold that you.
What is driving that demand now, and where is that, or supply demand?
Retail.
Obviously, we got to look at that. So it's retail.
It's the retail demand, which is rising because of the war in Ukraine, et cetera, because of inflation, because of what was an uptrend in gold and silver before we saw the situation develop in Ukraine. That is kind of running head-to-head against the Mint's inability to actually produce product. So we see this happen over and over in the retail bullion market, is that government mints, surprise, surprise, aren't good business people. Imagine that government's not being good business people. So they really can't keep up with the ebbs and flows of demand. It is a production process, so it's hard for them to, they don't like to carry inventory and things like that. So every now and then we get these surges of retail and demand that essentially just wipe out all the available physical supply.
So
and the people that are buying tend to hold on to it, so that's selling back into the market.
that's why you buy gold. You don't
Right.
usually buy physical to trade it.
Well,
Rarely,
they are-
at least as retail investors.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. People are more educated than anywhere before. They're not being scared out of their piles. Just keep stacking. Now, as I was stating, the more I learned about cryptocurrencies, the more disappointed they are. You know, I told you what lured everybody to them in the first place. I want you to listen to what this guy says. This guy works for Secret Service. Listen to the words that come out of his mouth. I told you before this disruptive technology comes out, it's already messed with. The government's already figured it out. They've learned how to keep track of everything on there. They learn how to spy. They know how to manipulate the markets, the whole 9 yards. So let's hear what this guy has to say.
The Secret Service is also tracking illicit Bitcoin proceeds on the blockchain, which is the public ledger for all crypto transactions.
He said tracking. They're tracking illicit purchases.
The Secret Service is now the primary agency investigating the illicit use of digital assets.
David Smith is Assistant Director of the Office of Investigations.
One of the guiding principles of the blockchain is that it was a public ledger that's shared, and everyone with a little bit of computing power has access to it, to include law enforcement. So the Secret Service isn't doing anything that wasn't the original intent of the blockchain. We're just...
You hear what he said? Everybody had access and a way to use the blockchain, including Secret Service. And what did he say? That was its original design. Let's hear it again.
Wasn't the original intent of the blockchain. Service isn't doing anything that wasn't the original intent of the blockchain. We're just using the same tracking and tracing mechanisms that were intended.
So,
yeah, you heard him. They're not doing anything that it wasn't intended for. So the government already had their grubby hands in this long before it came out. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to disruptive technology. I'll rewind it just a little bit more so you can hear it again, but I'm going to let it play through so you can hear just a little bit more.
of investigations.
One of the guiding principles of the blockchain is that it was a public ledger that's shared, and everyone with a little bit of computing power has access to it, to include law enforcement. So the Secret Service isn't doing anything that wasn't the original intent of the blockchain. We're just using the same tracking and tracing mechanisms that were intended.
So would you say that crypto is actually more traceable than good old-fashioned cash for a criminal?
In many ways it is.
Is it easier to track cryptocurrencies than it does cash? Sound familiar? Isn't that the whole purpose of the central bank digital currency? I keep saying that cryptos were just a way to indoctrinate people into using cryptos to prepare you for the central bank digital currency. Like the man said, in many ways, isn't it easier to keep track of cryptocurrencies than it does cash? Yes. What about real money, like gold and silver? Can you track that on blockchain technology? No.
The agency has seized more than $102 million worth of crypto in 254 cases. Here we see analysts and special agents examining Bitcoin wallet addresses.
So they're just making correlations and seeing where the hot spots are, or like a heat map, if you will, to see where the illicit activity is occurring and then focusing on those areas. Because one of the things that is in the benefit of the bad guys is the volume of activity that's occurring out there.
Are you using the same kind of software that all the rest of us have access to?
When you follow a digital currency wallet, it's no different than an email address that has some correlating identifiers. And once a person and another person make a transaction and that gets into the blockchain, we have the ability to follow that email address or wallet address, if you will, and trace it through the blockchain.
Criminals frequently use techniques to obscure the digital money, something Smith compares to a house of mirrors.
All of them exist exactly to keep law enforcement off of the bad guys' trail. They want to go into the blockchain and make as many transfers as possible so they can lose us like an old-fashioned surveillance.
Recent high-profile crypto cases cracked by the Secret Service include an international laundering operation based in Romania that targeted 900 victims across the United States, and a ring of Russian-speaking cyber criminals who threatened U.S. companies with ransomware attacks.
So there you have it. Like he said, the Secret Service isn't doing anything on blockchain that it wasn't designed to do. Law enforcement's had access to who was doing what back then. It's always been that way. That's why when the dark web was out and people can go to what was known as the Silk Road, people were idiots and they were on there buying drugs like there's no tomorrow. And you can get them and you can use Bitcoin. And they were doing all kinds of illegal activities. But then they started arresting people left and right. And you had to ask yourself way back then, how is that possible? How did they know who to arrest, considering it was supposed to be peer-to-peer total anonymity? Well, there was no anonymity then. They arrested a ton of people, including the creator of the Silk Road. The Silk Road was one of the largest drug websites you can go to. And you could literally buy anything there. Guns, drugs, you name it. It was on there. Even sick stuff for pedals. That's my issue with cryptocurrencies. They are nothing like we were told. In fact, they were going to be the opposite. And that was my warning from when they first came out the door. But as far as investments, hey, look, man, if you got nothing to worry about and you're not doing anything illegal, then to you, it doesn't matter. If you're just holding on to it like an asset, then just hold on to it. I still say be diversified. You get a group of people who run around and talk about all the great things that crypto has to offer, and none of them turned out to be accurate. They just used all that type of hype to lure people into the crypto, but it's worked out for a lot of people. There are a lot of millionaires out there because of cryptocurrencies. I won't deny that. But to me, the safe bet is and always will be gold and silver. But again, you should be diversified. Anyways, that's it for now. You guys hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.